Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel Dhyani classes. If you are watching my video for the first time, do subscribe my channel, hit the bell icon so that I get notified whenever new video will be uploaded. So in today's video we will cover the chapter The Enemy part 5 from class 12th CBSE. So let's get started. So in the fourth part of the chapter, we got to know that during the conversation between Dr. Sadao and the prisoner of war, Sadao saw terror on prisoner's face because the prisoner of war thought that he will be getting arrested and would be handed over to the police once he will get well. But later on, the prisoner of war understood that Dr. Sadao is a nice and humble guy, and he said, "Thank you, doctor, for having saved my life." So let's move on the fifth part of the chapter, The Enemy. "Don't thank me too early," Sadao said coldly. So here Sadao was not in mood to receive gratitude from his enemy and said without any emotion that no need to say thank you and it's too early to say. He saw the flicker of terror again in the boy's eyes, terror as unmistakable as an animal's. So when Sadao said no need to say thank you, it's too early, the boy became frightened once again. And at the same time, Sadao saw terror in his eyes as animals. The scars of his neck were crimson for a moment, so the scars that were there on his neck was red in color. Those scars, what were they? Sadao did not ask. So here Sadao saw the scars on his neck but ignored him completely, even though he wanted to ask him on red scars, but he did not bother to ask how those scars emerged. In the afternoon, the second thing happened. Hana, working hard on unaccustomed labor, saw a messenger came to the door in official uniform. So here second thing had happened in the afternoon when Hana was working on unaccustomed labor. That means unfamiliar or unusual work she was doing, and while work a messenger came to the door and he was in official dress. Her hands went weak and she could not draw her breath. So when Hana saw that messenger, she became frightened and she could not breathe because he was in official uniform. The servants must have told already. So here she thought that the servant must have informed them about the prisoner of war, and that's why this messenger came here, and this messenger could be from police department. She ran to Sadao, gasping, unable to utter a word. So here Hana became very frightened and ran to Sadao, and she was not able to breathe and say properly because she was frightened. But by then the messenger had simply followed her through the garden, and there he stood. So when Hana ran to her husband, the messenger of police had also followed her and came there where Sadao was doing something. She pointed at him helplessly. Sadao looked up from his book. So here Hana drew the attention of Sadao that the messenger came here in official uniform, and at the same time Sadao was reading book and he looked up from his book. He was in his office, the other partition of which was thrown open the garden for the southern sunshine. So here at the same time Sadao was sitting in his office and reading a book, and one part of it was open for the sunlight to enter. "What is it?" he asked the messenger, and then he rose, seeing the man's uniform. So here Sadao also got confused and stood up, and seeing his uniform he said, "Why did you come here, and what purpose you came here?" "You are to come to palace," the man said. So after hearing this, the messenger gave him a message that you should come to the palace. The old general is in pain again. Oh, Hana breathed. "Is that all?" So here she got relieved because messenger was sent by the general that he is in pain again, and Sadao has to come to the palace to check old general's health. So in this way she felt happy, and she understood that it was nothing about prisoner of war. "All," the messenger exclaimed. So immediately messenger reacted when he saw that Hana is quite happy and said, "It is not enough." "Indeed it is," she replied. "I am very sorry." So the messenger said, "It is not enough that the old general feeling pain again." So she replied, "Indeed, Sadao must go there," and said, "I am very sorry." When Sadao came to say goodbye, she was in the kitchen but doing nothing. So Sadao was ready to go palace with him to diagnose old general health, and when Sadao came to say goodbye, Hana was at the kitchen at that time but doing nothing. The children were asleep and she sat merely resting for the moment, more exhausted from the fright than from work. So here Hana was feeling quite happy while sitting because she thought that he was from the police department, but after knowing that he was not from the police, she felt relaxed. I thought they had come to arrest you, she said. So here Hana told him that I thought he had come to here to arrest you, and for a moment I got frightened, but now I'm feeling well. He gazed down into her anxious eyes. I must get rid of this man for your sake, he said in distress. So here Sadao was also got frightened when he saw the messenger. So he told Hana that I must get off this prisoner of war, at least for your sake, and then you will be at peace. Somehow I must get rid of him. So Sadao decided to do something as soon as possible because this man could be dangerous for them. Of course, the general said weakly, I understand fully. So Sadao goes to meet the old general and tells him the whole story about the prisoner of war and how he found that man and how they are curing him inside their house. And then old general said, I understand completely whatever you have said. But that is because I once took a degree in Princeton, so few Japanese have. So here the old general said to Sadao that I had to go to Princeton in the United States of America to complete my further education, and from there I owned a degree, and some Japanese also gone there and learned from. I care nothing for the man, Excellency, Sadao said, but having operated on him with such success. So here Sadao told the general that he doesn't care anything about the prisoner of war. But on the other hand, Sadao wanted to share with the general that he had done the operation successfully and he pulled out the bullet from the body of the prisoner of war, and he had done this very well. Yes, the general said. So here the general agreed upon this and said, it makes me feel you are more indispensable to me. So the general told him that you are very important one, and you make me feel that you are essential for me because you have done the operation very successfully. Eventually you can save anyone, you are so skilled. So here again the old general told him that you are very skilled doctor, and I am very impressed to hear about it. You say you think I can stand one more such attack as I have had today. So here the old general said that I want you to remain with me because I am not able to bear one more heart attack as I have had today. No more than one, Sadao said. So suddenly Sadao said, yes, you are right. You cannot survive one more attack. Then certainly I can allow nothing to happen to you, the general said with anxiety. So the general said, I cannot allow anything to happen with you because I need you remain by my side because you are the only doctor who can look after me. So after listening these words from the general, Sadao felt relieved because the general assured Sadao's safety because he always wanted to Sadao to take care of him as a doctor. His long pale Japanese face became expressionless, which meant that he was in deep thought. So here the general having some deep thought on his face, there was no expression and thinking about Sadao that you cannot be arrested, the general said closing his eyes. So here the general thinking about Sadao that he is taking care of an enemy, but I don't want him to be arrested by the police and said you cannot be arrested. Suppose you were condemned to death, the next day I had to have my operation. So here the general said that suppose you are going to be hanged in the case of anti-national or taking care of this prisoner of war, then the next day I have my operation, then who will operate me if you get arrested? So he was very watchful to Sadao because he need assistance of Dr. Sadao, and that is the reason why the general said that I don't want you to be arrested. There are other surgeons, Excellency, Sadao suggested. After hearing this, Sadao said, if I get arrested, other surgeons will take care of you. None I trust, the general replied. So in reply, the general said to him that I don't rely upon any other doctor. and I want only you to operate me when I will be in needed, and I will not allow you to be arrested. The best ones have been trained by Germans and would consider the operation successfully even I had died. So here the general said Sadao that there are many trained doctors, but they have trained by the German professionals, and if the operation is not successfully done, they will also consider success in failed operation. So that's why I want you to be my side. I do not care for their point of view, he sighed. So and then the general laughed and said, I don't care how excellent doctors they are, and he took a deep breath while taking rest. It seems a pity that we cannot better combine the Germans' ruthlessness with the American sentimentality. So here the general said that we cannot mix up Germans with Americans because Germans are very cruel and they don't care of patience sometimes, but when it comes to American, they care for everything when it comes to the sentiments, especially for the doctors, and they know very well that their first responsibility is to save lives. Then you could turn your prisoner over the execution, and I could be sure you would not murder me while I was unconscious. So here he is telling something about German doctors who were very cruel. They were about to kill him when he was unconscious. The general laughed. He had an unusual sense of humor. So the general was a humorous person. That means being amusing or comic, and he laughed and said, as a Japanese, could you not combine these two foreign elements? He asked. So the general was asking Dr. Sadao to mix up two foreign elements, that is ruthlessness and sentiments. So the general wanted to be more ruthless towards that injured man, and if he had been so cruel, he could have easily handed over the man to the police, and that's why he was asking Sadao to combine two elements, that is cruelty and tenderness. Sadao smiled. I am not quite sure, he said, but for your sake I would be willing to try, Excellency. So here Dr. Sadao told the general that he would try to do whatever he suggested. The general shook his head. I had rather not to be test case, he said. So the general shook his head and said, you don't test these things on me, whatever general told him about combining two elements above. He felt suddenly weak and overwhelmed with the care of his life as an official in times such as these, when repeated victory brought great responsibilities all over the South Pacific. So here Dr. Sadao was feeling a little bit weak as well as overwhelmed. That means anxious, because as an official he knew how important his life is, and most of the time he was given duty to cure injured soldiers, and he was always victorious. That means he saved many lives. That success brought him more responsibility as general. It is very unfortunate that this man should have washed up on your doorstep, he said irritably. So here the general told him that it was a luck by chance that this prisoner of war had come to your doorstep, and I am feeling very sad for that, and said, I feel it so myself, Sadao said gently. It would be best if he could be quietly killed, the general said. So here Sadao said that he was feeling bad because he was curing the wounds of the enemy, and even my servant also thought that I am not doing good. So immediately the general said it would be better if you could kill without making any noise, and you could kill him very silently. Not by you, but by someone who does not know him. So here the general shared his idea that you must kill the prisoner of war very silently, and there is the only way to come out from trouble. Other than this, soldier could be dangerous for everyone, and you are not going to kill him, somebody will do for you. I have my own private assassins. So here the general told him that he had his own private assassins. That means he had a private gunman, and this gunman will kill him without any difficulty. Suppose I send two of them to your house tonight, or better any night. So here the general said, I will send two gunmen to your house, maybe tonight or maybe any other night, and they will kill him very silently. You need know nothing about it. It is now warm. What would be more natural than that you should leave the outer partition of the white man's room open to the garden while he sleeps. So here the general gives him an idea who can kill him and said he would be sent two of his gunmen to his house at night, and only he has to keep the door open of the white man's room when he sleeps so that they can easily go inside and kill him very silently. Certainly, it would be very natural, Sadao agreed. So finally Sadao agreed upon general's idea and became very happy that finally we are going to get rid of this soldier, and said it would look very natural. In fact, it is so left open every night, good, the general said, yawning. So Sadao said that every night I leave the door open, and after hearing this the general said good and became very happy with the plan. They are very capable assassins, they make no noise and they know the trick of inward bleeding. So here the general explained Sadao that they are very expert in killing and they will kill him very silently, and they know how to kill a man without making noise, and they have a trick of inward bleeding. If you like, I can even have them remove the body. So the general also said to Sadao that I can remove the body after killing him, and I will help you out in this way and nobody knows about it. Sadao considered that perhaps would be best, Excellency. He agreed, thinking of Hana. So after hearing this idea from General, Sadao became very happy, and he thought that Hana would also feel happy and relieved, and she would also feel relaxed when the prisoner of war will not remain inside their house. He left the general's presence then and went home, thinking over the plan. So here Sadao left the palace after that, and he was very happy and thinking over the plan, whatever the general suggested him. In this way the whole thing would be taken out of his hands. So he thought that he would be free from the prisoner of war, and he will be free from thinking all about the enemy and being arrested by the Japanese police, etc. He would tell Hana nothing, since she would be timid at the idea of assassins in the house, and yet certainly such persons were essential in an absolute state such as Japan was. So while going back to the house, he was thinking that he will tell about this plan to Hana because she might be timid, that means frightened or feel shy when she will see murderer coming in the house. So he did not want her to be bothered about that, and at the same time he thought that war is going on between Japanese and Americans, so it is very necessary to remove American fellow from this house, and they had to use accurate plan to get rid from this prisoner of war. How else could rulers deal with those who opposed them? So here he was thinking about that he should use exact plan like this, because what other way is to deal with prisoner or enemies when they are such a situation. He refused to allow nothing but reason to be the atmosphere of his mind as he went into the room where the Americans was in bed. So here Sadao did not want to think about anything else but only the reason why he was doing this and why he agreed to do this, and then he went into the room where the enemy was sleeping. So I hope you liked the video. For more informative videos, do subscribe my channel. Hit the bell icon so that you get notified whenever new video will be uploaded. So let's look at the sixth part of this chapter in my next video. So thank you so much for watching once again. Stay safe, stay healthy.